When was the last time you asked yourself, who am I? Who do I want to be? And more importantly, what's stopping me? What if I told you that you are not stuck? That no matter what you've been through, no matter how deep in the dark you feel, you can rise. Maybe you don't believe that right now. Maybe life has made you cynical. Maybe you're just tired. Either way, I need you to hear me. You are not doomed to be who you were yesterday. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm mostly going to be talking to myself in this episode. I'm in the midst of some deep emotional turmoil, and I figured I can't sit around and wait for somebody to tell me what I want to hear. I have to fight for my own sanity. I have to fight for my own healing. I'm somebody who is intensely emotional. I've always felt that way my entire life. I'm not a big movie guy simply because every time I watch a movie, I become so emotionally invested that if it's like really sad or really thought provoking, I'll be in this like deeply introspective mood for the entire afternoon after that movie. I mean, it's such an investment for me to watch shows or movies because I think too much about what's being communicated. I love love. I love people in love. I love being in love. I love receiving love. I love giving love. I love being in close proximity to people you trust. I love art. I love colors, flowers, nature, everything. So many things in this world I can look at and just be overwhelmed because of the complexity and the beauty that is simply life or what we've been able to cultivate as humanity in this world. My family isn't traditionally expressive when it comes to love and the familiar family dynamics that healthy families experience when it comes to how you love one another. And I know now, in retrospect, that a lot of my sensitivity doesn't only stem from just me being a sensitive person, but also from this lack of expressive love growing up. I grew up in a home with tough love, where love was assumed. To even say the phrase I love you was such an awkward and embarrassing thing for me. No hugging, no kissing. All of those things were foreign to me for almost 20 years, I'd say. I've always tried to suppress my emotions most of my life. And in turn, that's made me this insanely insecure person. Like, insanely. Some of you who I've gotten to know over the years probably know by now that I really don't like who I am. I don't like how I look. I don't like the fact that I overthink so many situations. I hate how much I hate myself. I hate how much I want to speak negatively into my own life, how nobody loves me, how nobody thinks I have anything of value. I'm really struggling emotionally, mentally. So I'm going to be speaking to myself today in hopes that maybe you who are listening can relate. In this inner turmoil that I've been facing, I've also been feeling this deep, almost painful need for change. Not just for myself, but for the world around me. I don't want to live a life of seeking self-pleasure anymore. I don't want to be another person lost in this hyper-individualistic mindset where we convince ourselves that we don't need anyone, that it's just me, myself, and my survival. It's not enough. It's not where meaning is found. But all of this leaves a bigger question. How do we actually change? What does it mean to truly confront ourselves? And why is that so freaking hard? You see, I think confronting yourself isn't just about acknowledging all of your flaws. I think it's about asking the hard questions like, why do I do what I do? What am I afraid of facing? What are the things that I've been running from? See, a lot of us go through life on autopilot. Understandably, it's overwhelming. There's so much to do. It's very easy to be caught up in the monotony of life and just cruise control. We follow habits, we follow patterns and cycles without questioning them. And we say, that's just how I am. But is it? Or is it just who you've been up until now? See, real change requires looking in the mirror and seeing the things you'd rather ignore. It requires honesty. And honesty is really uncomfortable. But staying the same, I think that's worse. So who are you? Like, really? Who am I? I ask myself. Not the version of me that other people expect. Not the version of you that's stuck in past mistakes or fears, but you. Who are you? Oh, that we would answer that in the most positive way, in the most beautiful of ways. I'm capable. I'm worthy. You are likable. You can do this. You are determined. And you are lovely. Identity is a story. It isn't, and this is my opinion, it isn't the same throughout all of your life. My identity has not been the same throughout all of my life. I think identity is a story being told, whether through voices from the past, wisdom from the past, maybe some greater force of good that you believe in. Identity is a story. It's a story we tell ourselves based on our experiences, on our environment, and what other people have projected onto us. But if we lose sight on the fact that our story is constantly unfolding, constantly being written, then I think we suffer from the possibility that we end up stuck several chapters back in our story. That could be due to a traumatic event you experienced that stunned your emotional intelligence. That could be a result of years and years of negative self-talk and self-loathing. That could be because you were always told by those who were supposed to love you and protect you from the moment you could understand who you are or your purpose in life. You were always told what you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to look like. And so in all of those moments, we stopped writing our own story and started filing in line. So my question to you is, what if your story is outdated? What if your story is keeping you small? What labels have you put on yourself that no longer serve you? Ask yourself this. Who told me that I'm incapable of change? Well, this is just how I've always been. I'm just an angry person. Well, I've always loved this way. Well, I've always received love this way. Really? Or are you just living in reaction to old wounds? Because here's the truth, and I really believe this, and I'm trying to believe this for me in this moment, right now. You are not bound by who you've been. You get to write your story. You get to decide who you become. You get to decide what you overcome. You get to decide if and when you want to conquer your fears. You get to decide if you're just going to stay stagnant or put in the work to move past stagnation. This is the part where it gets real, right? Because wanting change and actually doing it are two very different things. So let's break it down. I'll give you 5 points for real tangible ways in which we can enact change in ourselves. First, we need to be radically honest with ourselves. We need radical self-honesty. Stop running. Stop making excuses. Sit with yourself and ask, where am I sabotaging myself? Where am I lying to myself? Because you can't change what you won't acknowledge. And in doing so, you'll be able to accept that you will mourn your old self. This is something that my therapist has been drilling into my head for 3 years as I was struggling with the life that I had in my 20s and the life that's been unfolding in my 30s. I wasn't giving myself time to mourn over that version of me because I wanted so desperately to change right now. And it's so desperately heal better, heal quicker, heal stronger, learn more, do more. And by doing that, I was actually holding on to past versions of myself. But you see, change requires loss, and that's hard. Even toxic habits, toxic mindsets, when they've been with us for a long time, they feel like home. And letting go of them feels like grieving. And that feels like death. One of the posts that I made recently says, I will rise up resurrected. I love that phrase because sometimes I feel like death is around me when I'm trying to get rid of these parts of myself that don't serve me at all. It feels like death. But you can't grow if you refuse to let go. Third point, build meaning through action. And this is one of those things where I can get crucified online because I'm telling you what is not very popular. So again, take everything I say with a grain of salt, but stop chasing temporary highs. Start building meaning through your own actions instead of chasing what takes you out of reality. Start asking yourself, what actually brings me fulfillment in life? Because pleasure is fleeting, but purpose is everlasting. So if you want to change, your actions have to align with your values. That's the last episode I talked about integrity. Like, what is wisdom? Part of wisdom is being integrous, having your actions line up with your values. This leads to the fourth point, which I believe is absolutely supplemental in your journey towards healing and towards growth. And that's to reconnect with community. I think you can heal alone. I think it's really hard. I've been trying to heal alone over this past week, and it's really hard. We're not meant to heal alone. And hyper individualism will tell you that you don't need people. And that's a lie. Healing can happen through connection. We've got to find people who want to grow with us. Once we have those 4 points, we have just one more thing to do, and that is practice resilience. Because I guarantee you, you will fall back into old habits. You will mess up. I have messed up. I have fallen back into old habits, but it's part of the process. The goal isn't perfection. In being wise and having wisdom and living with wisdom, the goal isn't to be perfect. It's to be persistent. It's to keep going even when it feels impossible. So here's what I need you to know as we reach the end of this episode. If anything, if you can't remember anything I said, please know this. You are not too broken to heal. You are not too far gone to change. And I'm saying this because I need to hear it too. In fact, just saying that out loud right now is really motivating to me. It's healing my heart. It helps me breathe easier because I'm in it right now just like you. This isn't just some motivational talk. I'm living this. I'm struggling through this. And I know how hard it is. But I also know this, that we are not here to just exist. I don't believe that. I hate, and this might give me some hate too, but I hate when people are like, oh, we're just nothing. We're just matter and we're going to be gone. And, we're just a moment in infinite time and space. I hate that because it boils down the soul to such a purposeless entity. You are not purposeless. You are not meaningless. You are not here to just exist. You're here to become. You're here to love. You're here to laugh. You're here to experience life in color. See life in color. Feel life in color. And see the beauty of everything that surrounds us. So I want to leave you with this, my friends. What's one thing, just one thing that you can do today that aligns with the person you want to become? You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to take the next step.